Miller about this today and asked him. Actually, the truth is, when you listen to this, the question was actually about the profiling of Latinos, but here's how Stephen Miller responded to that question.
He also says that you are profiling, that you're targeting black and brown people, even those who turn out to be here legally. What's your response?
Well, first of all, the black people in Chicago are thrilled that we're getting the illegal aliens out of their communities who are stealing their housing, jobs, and resources. The illegal aliens who are here are taking jobs away from blacks, they're taking jobs away from whites, they're taking jobs away from Latinos. We cannot have a...
Welcome from Just Another Black Conservative. We got a video here from CNN and our favorite host, Abby Phillips, where they discuss ICE in Chicago. Let's take a look, see where this goes.
Blind to the black community in Chicago and knows what black people in Chicago are thinking. I kind of doubt that's the case.
But he does understand.
Here we go with Diddler in Chief, CNN Diddler on Zoom call, Tubin, giving us advice on what's going on in Chicago. Should make for an interesting segment here on CNN. Let's keep listening.
The politics of division.
Well, absolutely.
He understands that very well.
You know, it is true that the mayor of Chicago is not allowed to obstruct the work of ICE. And I think some of what he said comes very close to obstructing that. And that's just simply not the law. He's right that people inside buildings can demand a warrant from ICE if they can, and they're not obliged to let them in. But it is also true that you know, you can call yourself a sanctuary city or whatever you want, but under the law, a locality is not allowed to interfere with the work of ICE, much as they want
interfering just to say that you can't use this particular property of ours that the city owns to launch your facility. Now, whether that means they can, if they're engaging in some other activity and they happen to be on there, you can decide that because you're the professional expert on this. But I don't think they're talking about interfering. I think they're just talking about making sure that their property isn't being used.
They're not talking about interfering. They're just saying they couldn't use certain areas for ICE to be. What does that mean? Does that mean ICE has to come out and create their own command posts in the middle of the public street to handle and do their duties? If they have to, I guess they could. Let's go.
Used for that purpose. It's the same reason. I mean, I lived in Los Angeles for 4 years, where Trump sent in national troops, and I'm sending National Guard troops, and you know they used the same justification. They had to do this because supposedly there was some great calamity that didn't exist.
There was some great calamity. We all watched the riots in LA against ICE when they were writing graffiti on the building and encroaching on federal property and accosting ICE agents. We all saw that on the clips. There's plenty of clips of this. Keith Boykin tries to vindicate the activities of these people, but let's keep watching.
And they accuse people of interfering with the facility, the federal building in downtown Los Angeles, and there's no interference. What Trump does is he creates a provocation, and then people respond to that.
Heath, I got to disagree with you on that.
Escalating.
I'm also in LA, and the protests against ICE in LA got super violent. They were literally throwing cinder blocks.
Anna Kasparian tries to throw in some logic on this situation, on what was actually happening in LA. Let's keep watching.
After Trump sent in, I was there every single day reporting on the ground.
That's fair.
Okay, so he says after Trump sends in agents, then it vindicates the behavior of people throwing rocks at police. Make it make sense. Let's go.
It was after
the federal building.
It was after Trump sent the federal.
But that's my point, Anna. Trump creates a crisis,
and
this is what happened.
Anna goes in and agrees with Boykin. After he sends in troops and creates chaos, like there wasn't chaos before he sent in troops. Does this make any sense to you? Let's keep going.
Portland. I saw the pictures in Portland a few days ago. There were like 10, 15 people. They were blowing bubbles and stuff. Then Trump sends in the national.
He just said that they were blowing bubbles and stuff in Portland. These protesters and riots. During the daytime, yeah. At night, no. Whole different story. But let's go.
Guard, you've got hundreds of people there. Trump creates a crisis.
He does.
And
That's true.
you know,
And the point that I want to make
is the
is
crisis
it's
not
fine
created?
for ICE to carry
How
out
is
its
the-
duties.
and
The
how is the
problem that I have is that they are terrorizing American citizens
how
and
is the
doing
crisis
it.
not
Your ICE, you
created
just got this
when
massive
Democrats
influx of
allowed
federal
and
money.
willfully
You're not able
ignored
to do
the
a
rule of
targeted
law?
rape.
You're ICE. You're not able to do a targeted raid? What? When you're going into an area where there's lots of people and you're trying to figure out who's criminal and who's not criminal, you need to secure the area. Do any of these people understand law enforcement? I believe they don't. But let's keep listening to this.
Where you know exactly which units these people are in.
Just answer one question.
Right.
Why are Democrats okay with immigrants not being able to follow the law? Why is that okay?
Nobody
Why
said
is that the
that.
one
Nobody
law?
said
Joe Borelli tries to come in and do bring some levity, logic to this whole situation. Why are we vilifying ICE? Why are we vilifying law enforcement for executing laws that Congress has put on the books? This is the essential question. But we're going to let him cook and listen to how they respond to him.
that.
So
That's a straw man.
why, when the enforcement happens, why is it such a problem? Why is the protest
Because the
always against ICE?
enforcement isn't
Why
being
is the protest
isn't
always
happening in a
for
targeted
sanctuary
way.
cities?
The issue-
Why isn't the protest for
quick
law
answer.
enforcement?
Very quickly, we
The
do have
answer
to
is
go.
that police, law enforcement says that if they have to cooperate with ICE, that means that local immigrant communities will feel less likely to actually cooperate with the police.
Keith, who are the good guys? The
That's-
police?
If local law enforcement supports ICE, then they need to worry about how the local immigrant community will not cooperate with the local law enforcement. This is the logic. Let's go.
These are the people breaking the law.
The local
Who are
police
the
say
good guys?
that.
The police or the people breaking the law?
The local police are saying that they don't want to be co-opted in the ICE campaign because it makes people less
Hold
likely
on
to
a
cooperate
second.
with them.
I just think it's always important to point out there is almost universal agreement in this country that criminal people who are undocumented should be kicked out of the country. Virtually.
Really? I remember
Joe,
the
Joe,
Democratic
virtually-
primary. The
No, no, no,
Democratic
Joe,
primary. They asked
Joe,
every candidate.
Hold on a second.
Who thinks there should be
Joe, are
free
you gonna-
health care for
Joe.
illegal immigrants?
That's
They all
nothing to
raised
do-
their hand.
that's nothing
Every
to do with
one of them.
criminals, nothing to do with
Every
criminals.
one of
That's
them.
a red herring, nothing
That
to do with
was
criminals.
people who are here
Let
legally.
her
Just one
speak,
second,
please. She's
okay?
talking about criminals.
That's not really in dispute here. But what has also happened over the last 9 months is that there are people going into courthouses to follow the legal procedures, having their cases administratively closed, and then getting arrested right outside the courthouse doors. So there's both things happening.
Why are they getting arrested outside of courthouse doors? Because an immigration judge made a judgment and said that they needed to be picked up to be processed to be deported. No one wants to tell you that. An immigration judge gave ICE a order. They were executing it. Let's go.
Yeah, they are going after criminals, but they're actually going after a lot of people who are not criminals as well. And that is what's building the heat in this country in terms of the antagonism between law enforcement and regular Americans, because a lot of this is regular Americans
But, I
who
mean,
are frustrated.
If there's a gang on a
Joe,
street corner that the police know there's shoot.
Wait, a lot of this is regular Americans that are upset. Did she not watch these riots? No King Day? There were a lot of immigrants on the street. I don't know if they're illegal or not legal, but there were a lot of immigrants. I don't know, but let's go.
Joe,
And they roll up on the street corner.
Joe, if
are
there's
they not going to stop and frisk everyone?
if
Yes, they
there
are.
is a gang on the street corner, they should go after the gang on the street corner. And nobody disputes that. Boris Sanchez was talking to Stephen Miller about this.
All right, this was a video by CNN. I just had to interject my commentary. Thanks for hanging out for me. Thanks for having fun. We'll see you on the next video.